we saw almost all the parameters available in a test method. So today we'll discuss about others annotations available, like this before shoot, after shoot, before test, after set, and we'll discuss about these all annotations in. Then apart from that, we can discuss what this depends on method and depends on a groups also we'll discuss exactly. Then after that, we can discuss data provider and parameters. These things we'll discuss today. So before starting that, I will start with the what is depends on a method. So we'll start with this parameter, what it will do depends on a method. So depends on method, what it will do. For example, there are 3 4 test cases. Assume that this test cases is dependent on a this test case. So we wanted to execute this test case only when this test case is passed. So if this test case is passed, this test case will execute. Otherwise, it won't. Means if this test case is passed, if you means you have a scenario, there is a one test cases or one method or two multiple method dependent on a other test case. So you wanted to confirm whether if that test case is executed, then only you can execute this particular test case. So how we can do this kind of a scenario in Selenium? So there is a method called a depends on a method. So now we'll use that one, how you have to mention. So at test, so yesterday if you see, just same thing you have to write, like at test parameter. So you have to write a depends on a method. Then method name, you what you call this is a syntax. So open flower bracket, close a flower bracket, and write a test method name. So now we'll execute first what it will write. It will execute this test4 method. Then it will execute this what you call verify launch browser. We'll see with execution. Let's see whether it is executing or not. Yeah, if you guys see here, it's executed. So first it's execute test4 method, then this is executed. So the I will show you reporting. So it depends on that. So 2 test cases are executed. So as I told, right, if it is pass only, that time only it will execute this method. So I will make these test cases fail now. Let's say I will make these test cases fail. Actual and expected result I will make failure. Let's see whether this method it will execute or not. If we use depends on method. I made these test cases fail because the expected and actual result is so the test case didn't fail. So this can you guys see this method didn't executed only. So it's always so it will execute only that dependent test cases is passed. So if you have multiple test cases dependent, so just you have to give right what to call syntax is like similar. You give a what to call a different method name here. Now it is test4. Assume that there is one more method. It is the test5, test6. So whichever method name you give like this. Just what to call semicolon and give a multiple method name. So it will execute here also again. If all both whichever dependent methods are all here, all methods should be passed. Then only this particular test case or method will execute. Any doubts here? Depends on a method. Yeah. Same thing. Okay. Before that, depends on method. We'll learn other things. Depends on one more. It is there. Group is there. So how we'll say before that, I will show you one groups. Okay. So you wanted to group the test cases exactly like what you call sanity, smoke, regression. You wanted to do the grouping of the test cases. These test cases will be considered as a sanity. These test cases will be considered as a what to call smoke, regression. So in that case, what is there is a parameter called a groups actually. If you make a group, how you have to write again at test groups equal to then you can give a group any group name exactly how you want sanity, smoke. Just I given as some sign in like a group name. You can give any group name. So you assume that here are some 10 test cases you what to call given a group name to everything. Then there is a one test cases. You wanted to execute that test cases only all the test cases in that particular is executed. So take an example, if you have a smoke test case. So if you wanted to execute sanity test case, only all the test case present in the smoke test case has been executed. So like that you have to give a group name as a like here like group, then name same flower bracket name you can give. Now I have, if you see here, this is one test case, a view account. So it depends on a group sign in. If these both test cases are passed, then only these test cases will execute. Depends on a group. So if you say there is depends on a method, you are giving explicit method. So you are making a group wise exactly your test case. That is a method depends on a method here, making each test case into group. Let's say whether it will execute or not. Depends on a group. So which is taking some time to load. It's running exactly. Next time we'll take other thing. Let's see. Wait. If you guys see, okay, view account, can you see this view account executed last because it depends on the group what to call sign in. So sign in, which are the groups available there, those test cases executed. So browser, then what to call login, one more method. Now I will make one test cases fail. Let's see whether it will this what to call view account will execute or not. If any of the test cases present in that particular group is failed, so that depends on whichever method depends on group available is there, that what to call method only won't execute. Now I will make this test cases view account login, so login browser. So second test cases I will make fail. Let's see. So just I give an assertion here, it will as a fail. Actually there is a difference. So let's say whether this what to call view account will execute or not. Can you guys see here? So this test cases is failed, so this test cases didn't execute it. View C. So open browse, this is only one test case is passed group, so other test cases is failed, so this test case didn't executed only. So can you guys say it depends on group actually? So that's the your it didn't executed only.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
What is the advantage of groups method?
Yeah, groups advantages will tell you exactly when in TestNG XML file. So this group will help you exactly how, for example, when you are doing executing like internalization or localization test cases. For example, there are some test cases you wanted to execute in what you call Spanish, or some test cases you wanted to execute in English. There is a might be some what you call little bit flow, what you call little bit flow difference in those two test cases. So you will write one test cases here. In that case, this you wanted to execute that particular test cases in Spanish, which is not applicable in English. In that case, how you can do it? You can group the test cases like Spanish or other thing. Like for this is a one in practical you can use. Other way you can use like smoke, sanity. You can segregate the test cases exactly. Smoke test cases. Assume that here this is a one method. Some you in one future, one requirement is that you have written some 20 test cases. In that you will execute, right? Some test cases belong to sanity, some test cases belong to smoke, some what you call functionality to it, like just you will do that user requirement is what you call testable or not. You won't do thorough testing in that. In that case, you can segregate, right? In this 15 test cases, some 5 test cases only wanted to execute. You don't want to execute that remaining test. In that case scenario, this depends on group will help you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you.
I will tell you in again TestNG XML file. How assume that there are each class there are so many what you call which groups you wanted to. Now this one you created here again some what you call some more test cases. Assume that that group name is a different exactly. In that case, how you can execute a particular test case belong to group and all. I will tell you with the TestNG XML file. Before I will tell you later onwards that one. First I wanted to explain you how this TestNG is everything will be there. Then after that you guys will understood easily include and exclude group everything. So
Okay.
any doubt here with respect to this depends on method, depends on group? Yeah. So now we'll see these annotation exactly. What are the annotation? These are annotations available in TestNG before suit, after suit. These, and we'll see one by one. So before that, so how will this XML file will come, right? We'll see. Okay, I will explain. So first I wanted to know, understand this XML file. So after this also fine. Okay. Now we'll learn one by one exactly. I'll create one class here. So first I will explain. Okay. So for how this TestNG XML file is created, you guys have any aware? So assume that you have written everything. So once you converted to what you call TestNG, in previous class explained, right, how to convert the project to the TestNG. So just you create a TestNG. So here it will come on the TestNG XML file. So if you see this is a TestNG XML file, you can give any name, whichever name you want to. If you didn't give any name, it will give a by default name. So you can give suit name also here, test name also, you can give anything. So now I will give one TestNG XML, what you call name TestNG XML3. So if you finish, it will generate on the TestNG XML. Can you guys see here TestNG XML file? Now I wanted to understand you guys to this what you call structure. So this is a suit level. First, this is a suit level. So this is a test level, this is a class, then this is a what you call a closing, opening of the suite, opening of the test, opening of the class, and this is so Selenium. Once you what you call generate test in XML cell, it will execute all the test case available in that particular class. If you say this is the one class, whatever the test case available in this, it will execute. This is one class, whatever the test case available in execute. Basically, it is a suit, it will create a suit of each class. So assume that here each methods, what you call, each class having some 10 test cases that will execute one by one by one by one each things. So this is how it will execute. So here you can give that XML modification will learn, but as of now this is a structure of a XML file. So now we'll learn one by one this annotation. So first I will take only at test method.
To interrupt,
Yeah, sorry.
can you please show me how to create that XML file
Okay, just
again?
yeah, you create a project whichever you have written, normal project. So go to here,
Okay,
if you install TestNG, right?
okay.
If you install TestNG, I go to Eclipse Market, search TestNG, then install a TestNG, restart Eclipse. So TestNG, it will come here automatically here.
Mm-hmm.
So once you install, can you see here convert TestNG?
Yeah.
Yeah, convert a TestNG. Here you can give any name exactly. I will give no five any name TestNG. So here suit name, if you wanted to give suit name, any suit name you can give. So test name also you wanted to give test name. Here can you see down finish?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, click on finish. One XML file will be generated here. Can you see
Okay.
this XML file, TestNG XML file?
That means all in that project, all those files are created
Yes, yes.
in
This
Excel.
X is whatever the available files are, it is there. It will create. It will consider as a suit actually. TestNG suit. Yeah, so
Okay.
whatever entire everything is it will come under in that XML file.
Okay.
Yep.
But what is the advantage for that XML file?
So now if you remember, now I am running test cases one by one, run as a test ng here. If you see
Yes.
here, right, run as a, I'm
Mhm.
going explicitly run as a test ng, run as a test ng. Assume that I have created some 20 classes, each classes is having 10 test cases. So I wanted to run at one shot everything. Now in when I run individually one by one, it's executing. Now I wanted to run all test cases at a time. How I will do? So in that case, this TestNG XML file, just you have to create a TestNG XML file, then run as a TestNG suite. If you run entire thing, whatever available in this all classes, right, each test case will be executed. So you keep what you call run nightly or whenever you wanted to keep running, it will keep executing. No need to worry. Instead of running one by one by one by one run, right? So you can run and at a time, one shot.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Thank
is the
you.
one thing. Apart from there, other what to call test ng xml, other things also we can do, like we can pass parameter from here, include groups. I told her depends on group. You wanted to execute to some group, you don't want to execute to those kind of a scenario also we can handle from here through test ng xml file. Any doubt?
No.
Yeah,
Thank you.
now we'll execute first what you call uh, okay, I'm taking this one at method learn annotation. So I'll remove everything. So first we'll start with again this annotation at test is there, right? Just now you know how to what it will do at annotation. So whenever you wanted to execute that particular test case, means you have to mention first as a at test. Then if you run that particular test case, you'll execute it. So first I will run this at annotation test case. So particular method you wanted to execute as a test case in what you call test ng. So you have to use annotation as a at test. If you remember previous all test cases we have used as a test annotation, so it will show. Now it is execute. Now we'll go with this one annotation before class. Now we'll use that before class annotation. Just I will do test. Instead of at test, I will use at before. Can you see here? You can see you will get here type before class. So I will change this method name to 1. So what it will do, right, this before class here in this particular class, this will be the first method to execute. Assume that here are 10 or 15 test cases are there, 10 test methods are there, all are at which is having a annotation at test, and one test case which is having a annotation as a before class. So this will be the first priority in this current class, so it will always execute the first. So I will write one more test case just for what do you call, for just I will print here, nothing, I won't do anything here to execution purpose faster. So oh sorry. So now if we see, I have two test cases. So first it will execute a before class. In current class, whichever the method is having before annotation, so it will, the priority will always given to the that method. So let's say how it will execute. I'll say. Can you say first that before class executed? What to call, where I mentioned. So this is a before class. After that, verify before launch, verify before test, it is executed. So that before class will be the first it will execute always. So it won't come here exactly that annotation. So before class. So whenever there is some pre-test condition, in that case, you can make use of this before class exactly method. So now there is again same thing called after class. So after class, what it will be do? It will be the last method to execute in that current class. Here assume again 10 test cases are there. If you use after test, it will be the last method to execute it in that current class. Now I will do one more thing. Just I will change some name. After test, here I mention after after class. So this will be the last what to call method to execute it in this current class after class. Just so can you see here? Verify test. I didn't give testing annotation after class exactly. So this is the last method to execute here. Or otherwise I will show one by one what you call. Yep. Uh, once your on annotation is done, right, I will just print, then you guys see exactly how it is executing your console, you can see. So this will be the you remember, this will be the last method to execute it in the current class. Any doubt with respect to before class, after class? Now we'll go with the other annotation. I will go with the before method and after method. Yeah, now we're done with the before method and after method. So before method, what it will do, right? So assume that there is a test cases which is having a annotation at test. It will execute every time for each test case. I will explain you. I will comment this one. this one also. Okay, yeah. So now for this thing, okay. Now I will make this test case as a before method. At before, sorry, before method. So I will comment test. Now what it will do, right, before method, see, it will execute every time for each test case available in that current class, or what to call at the method. So here first, here this method, before this method it will execute again at annotation test cases, right? Before this method it will execute before method. Again here one more at annotation method, before this method it will execute. So it will execute each time of the test case which is having at the test annotation method. I will execute. Let's see.
Rotnika, could you repeat this method again, please?
Okay, okay, yeah, sure, sure. So this what it will do, right, before method. This before method, right, it will execute every time of the each test cases exactly. So this method it is there. So in that current class, these are at the test cases, there are three methods are there. At test annotation, three test cases are there, right? Assume that at test, those this will execute always exactly for each test case. This is one method at test, which is test cases, which is having a at test annotation method. So before what to call, before executing, this will execute first. Then one more method is there at test annotation. Before executing, this will execute first. So it will execute every time for each at a test method. You guys,
Okay.
you guys got right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, yeah, so if here test is 3 times, then before method would be run 3 times.
Yes. Yep, that's correct. Each test annotation method, you remember as a
Yeah,
each test annotation method. That is
yeah.
a before method. So same with the after method. So once everything all at annotation is done, right, that would execute after method. Same thing as I told, right, before it will execute every time. After every what to call test cases is done, right, after every method it will execute. That same with this before method. Now one more annotation is there, right, like after method. After method, this annotation. So this annotation what it will do, right, after every test cases at annotation it is done, right, this will execute after method. So this is after method. Then we'll see what is there. So what is left, this we done before method, then we left with before test and after test. So I will come here. So instead of learning somewhere I am have, Okay, yeah, here I'm having. I will show you exactly one by one how it will. Just I'm printing here. You can guys see exactly how it will come. See, for understanding purpose. So, uh, before test, what it will do, right? So, in this is it will come in a what to call test level. So hierarchy level. Before test, what will do? See here, this all are some 5 test cases are there. Before test, if you mention as a before test one method, so this will be the first test case. It will be executed in that this one actually before test cases. Before test, that will be the first method it is used to execute before test. Now then, what is the difference between I told right before test and before method? Before method execute every time for each at test annotation. So before test, it will execute only one time. That is a difference between before method and before test. So this they will ask exactly in interview question, or you guys should know exactly what is the difference between before test and after test. I will show you here only. So first, before every method, can you see after every method? I typed here exactly after test this after method. Sorry, where it went. Oh, this one, this one. Yeah, sorry, this one actually. Yeah, can you guys see here? See, I have written like this. Uh, yeah, before method, after method, before class, after class, just printing before test, after test, then before suit, after suit. Then where is the method? It is the, yeah, before method. So before method and before test. Before test, you guys saw somewhere. Yeah, before test, in it will be the always the first it used to execute in that at annotation test cases. So how I will tell you exactly. I will show 1 minute here. So yeah, assume that here are 3 or 4 test cases. So you return one more class at annotation as a before test. So the priority will always go to the that before test. So you may ask exactly what is the difference between before class and before test actually. So I will tell you that hierarchy how it will work exactly. If in that particular class there is a test cases, you assume that you mentioned before test also, before class also. In that case, how it will execute. If you see this TestNG XML structure. So the hierarchy will be first it will always execute a before suit, then before test, then before class, then before method, then at method. So if you see here, this is the same hierarchy it is executed exactly. If you see here, the hierarchy is the same. So in that particular here I'm having all annotation exactly at test annotation. I'm having before method, after method, before class, after class, before test, after test, before suit, after suit. If you see first it will executed before test suit. Where is before suit? If you see here, this is a statement. Can you guys see? This is if you see respect to hierarchy wise. So first it will come to there before suit. I have written one class to understand better. Can you guys see before suit? So after that I told it before test. Can you see where is before test? This will be executed before test. Can you see before? If you see hierarchy, test it is there. So after suit, test it is there. So it will execute before suit. Now hierarchy is a before class is there. It should execute a before class. Can you see here before class? After that, whatever method it is available, that method before method. Then after that, at a test method in that particular method. Can you see it is the normal test cases at test. So closing loop of will be the same. Then after method, after class, after what to test, then after suit. Any doubt with respect to executing hierarchy? You got any confusion or any is it easy or any doubt? You will let me know exactly. how it got executed. So I would have what to call copy pasted same test case here. Again, it is taking time. So just instead of writing all this, just printed exactly. That's it. I done here. So otherwise, I would have done everything each. Then it every time is to open. So instead of that, I given printed statement. I hope you guys understand. So now, if you remember, I was telling depends on a group exactly. You know you learned exactly here. Depends on a group where it is there somewhere. So if you remember, we done depends on a group. So yeah, now here I have one more things. Okay. So I have created a two groups name exactly. One is a car, one is a vehicle group name. Some test cases I have created at test method. One is a car, one is a vehicle. So in that case, I wanted to execute a test case which belong to only car in that particular cell. How I can do here? Now you know that hierarchy here. Just a minute. Yeah. This is the same hierarchy I've created TestNG XML file that only, but I removed everything. So I don't want if you what to call if I keep everything, it will execute everything. So that's the reason I removed everything here. Just only which class I wanted, that particular class I kept here. Same thing. This is like, so you wanted to execute that particular class. There is a what you call groups actually. So you have to write in XML file as a syntax. So which groups you wanted to execute. So include is a parameter name. Yep.
Sorry to interrupt. How to create only for one class XML file?
Yeah, just I will show you exactly. If you remember, I have created for this for all. You know, right, how to create a test ng XML file. Just if you see
Yes.
here, yeah, run. When I create a